4 men to make their opening bow. This is the scene backstage. There's Stephen Maguire, former world #2, itching to get back again after missing out last year. He's about to make his 20th appearance, just chatting away to Judd Trump there. Can he summon the form that earned him that runaway world title in 2019? And we've also got Ali Carter, twice a runner-up here, and Hossein Vafaei really did some damage 12 months ago when he knocked out Ding Junhui. Second time in 3 years that he's going to run in to Judd Trump. That's the scene backstage, and MC Rob Walker is out front.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to a blockbuster opening Saturday of this year's Kazoo World Snooker Championship. Waiting backstage, we have 4 of the greatest break builders in the modern game, ready to entertain us in fine style here at the one and only Crucible Theatre. Please welcome a player back for a 20th Crucible campaign after missing out last year. Twice a semi-finalist, 6 times a ranking event winner, including the UK crown in '04. Here comes Stephen the Maverick Maguire. And his opponents, also back for a 20th tilt at the title at the end of a superb season. Back in the world's top 10 after runs to 2 major finals, twice a World Championship runner-up. The bigger the stage, the more he thrives. He is the captain, Ali Carter. And now to a player making his 3rd consecutive appearance in Sheffield. He's made 2 major semi-finals this season, including the UK champs, the former shootout champion, the one and only Iranian ever to qualify to play at the Crucible, the Prince of Persia, Hossein Vafaei. And finally, to the most decorated left-handed player in history, winner of 28 ranking titles, including 5 major crowns this season. World champion in 2019, back to his best and raring to go, the ace in the pack, Judd Trump.
So our first afternoon at the Crucible stretches before us in 2024. Now, if you're keen to focus solely on the Carter-Maguire contest on Table 1, it is all live on the iPlayer and BBC Sport website. We'll be keeping you posted, obviously. But in the meantime, it's Table 2 for us on BBC One and awaiting us in the commentary box. It is wonderful to say good afternoon to 2 world champions from '05 and '85. Hello to Sean Murphy and Dennis Taylor.
Hazel, good afternoon, and good afternoon, everyone. And it's Judd Trump who gets this.
Can you just check the volume on your headset,
intriguing
please? Some of them are quite loud.
Match underway. Referee just asking the audience to turn their earpieces down slightly. So, can he knock his first pot in this year's World Championship? Oh, close. Really looking forward to this one, Sean.
Absolutely. Good afternoon, Dennis. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, really looking forward as we see the replay of Hossein's missed first opening red there. Very interesting matchup, this one. Definitely make Judd favourite. But we know Hossein's not intimidated by anybody.
Well, that's a bit, well, I was going to say a bit unlucky. It might be lucky. Oh. He's a bit unfortunate there. Look at the cue ball. That in such a way that he knew that red was going to open something up, but the last thing he thought, He was going to leave a red right over the pocket, as we show you that. It was like an attacking safety shot. Almost fluked the red, but not easy to control the cue ball whenever the red's so close to the pocket. So he'll do well to get on a colour here. Sometimes you've got to just hit this with plenty of pace and hope for the best, which is what he's done. Now does that black go? It's tight, but I think if he was right in behind it with the cue ball, it wouldn't be a problem. But this is a tricky one. Looking at the pink, but that looks tight also. Back at the black. It looks as if there's enough room, but it's just the angle of the cue ball that's going to give him a bit of a problem here.
It's not the type of shot you want. First frame of a big match, though, is it? Red over the pocket, should you miss it.
Looks as if he's made his mind up. Well, maybe not. Back looking at the black again. Doesn't like the black, so tricky one this. Oh, excellent. But still not a decent chance. Because the pink might be available into the right corner, but there's no red available to get him over that side of the table. So just for a few shots time, well, the pink won't go, so he's got to somehow get up onto the blue here. And that's played to perfection. He can remove that red that's near the left corner pocket. And that will certainly free the black up for one of the corners. And there's plenty of options here with the angle he's left himself on the blue. A couple of shots time, it could be a good opportunity. Now, is he on that red just past the black?
30.
Oh, if he screws back, he's got to make sure he doesn't cannon that black.
Hossein Vafaei. 30.
Well, an unexpected miss, but did he feel that the black would maybe pass the red that's near the pocket? Must have done. Well, the black does go, so that makes that last miss from Hossein even more crucial. It could be costly. Plenty of room, as you can see.
Eight. 9. 60. 70.
Good angle here if Judd wants to screw the cue ball into the pack of reds. Doesn't have to, he's got a couple he can play for, but he's going to need to do it at some stage.
$24. 25.
bit straighter on the blue than he wanted, but being a left-hander, he can just screw back and leave that red. That's to the right of the pink and bunch. Well, it's got a slight angle, so we could run through and get slightly closer to it. But he's having a wonderful season, Judd. 5 wins, Sean. That takes some doing, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's been an incredible season. Absolutely, as you say, he's been, if not the player of the season, one of the players of the season for sure.
He's
76 century breaks this season after 45 last. He's not far off achieving 100 centuries in a season for the second time. He'll have to go some this tournament to get there, but it's an outside opportunity, but it remains outside. Missing blacks off the spot.
31.
2 sitters missed so far in this frame, 1 of each. That red by Hossein and that black from Judd. You wouldn't see him miss more than 2 or 3 of those a season. Early shake of the head as well from Judd. You don't see that too often.
At least the black has come to his rescue and covered the pocket. This one into the middle pocket's very acute angle, so he's looking at the safety. Well, the reds have opened beautifully here. It's just the black over the pocket might be a slight problem. Well, that black over the pocket won't be a problem now, unless, you know, he looks to the heavens, Judd. I think the yellow is snookering him. He'd have to swerve around the... very unlucky. But what a pot he picked out there. It was like a shot to nothing, but have a look at this for a little beauty.
Yeah, and the problem he's got here, as we see the cannon on the brown, bringing the yellow into play. If he swerves this, he's going to need lots of right-hand side. And if he connects with the black incorrectly, the right-hand side will bring the cue ball into the pocket as well. So he needs to be careful here.
How did he get the white through that gap there? Okay, still got a pot on, but how the white went through the gap of the 2 reds was incredible. Well, I'll tell you what, even though he caught the jaw of the pocket there, that last shot was just effortless. The screw he got on that was quite amazing. It's just about okay. Gone too far for the one to the right of the pink and not far enough to make this one a gimme, but I still expect him to knock this in. It's worked out okay, that. When he cannoned the other red, wasn't guaranteed to be this nice on the black. And that should be the end of frame, because there's no reason now why he can't score enough to win this opening frame.
23. $30. $30.
A good start for Judd Trump. This needed a few chances. Always spend the first frame or two, just getting used to the pace of the table, which is playing beautifully, by the way.
39.
He's so good to watch, Judd. The talent he has is amazing. His break building is incredible. Just a wonderful snooker player.
45. $46.
And normally towards the end of the frame, Judd likes to clear up in his own imitable way with a few, well, you would have to say
54.
sometimes exhibition shots. It's just something that he does. It's nothing against his opponent. He just loves to entertain. Look at the pace on the table there. Too well to hold for the green here. All the way around the hangle. Here we go.
63.
So, not a bad start.
From 63 on the first frame.
Breaks at 31 and 63. Gives him the opening frame. It's 1-0.
Positive start from the 2019 world champion. These two
I touched on before, even in a long frame match, the first frame can dictate so much. And I think, you know, I've been wrong in the past, I'll probably be wrong in the future. But I think Judd could dominate this session now.
Well, it's interesting because really the first round for Judd Trump has sometimes been his Achilles heel, and he's flown thereafter. Even when he won this title in 2019, he was involved in a really touch-and-go match with Tepchai. It went all the way to a final frame decider, and of course the rest is history. So I'm sure he would rather appreciate a nice cushion at the start of this one. Back we go.
Maybe disappointed there to run into the brown full ball. It was a big gap between brown and green to send the cue ball. No real damage done, but he's offered up this opportunity back to Judd, trying to get in behind the brown.
Yeah, well spotted, Sean. But when the brown was knocked off its spot, it made that a good target to get in behind. Oh, that's never going to reach. I know it's quick, this table, but I don't think it's that quick.
Foul, and a miss. Judd Trump 4.
Yeah, it's just going to cost him 4 points. Same shot again with a little more pace.
Cheers, Hossein. Thank you.
Just looking at coming into the reds there, there's nothing he can leave on as long as he doesn't hit it too hard. I thought it was going to be a touching ball, but it's not. it would have made it an easy escape for Judd to get in behind one of the ball colours. But it's not touching, so it's more difficult now to get a good cue ball. That's a pretty good cue ball.
Yeah, and this time the brown's in the way for that one cushion escape unless he swerves around it with lots of right-hand side, which is what he's doing, raising that cue slightly. Same shot as he played before. Well, he overhit that by quite a long way, as you can see. How's he got away with it? There's a red above and to the left of the cue ball that's possible somewhere, I think maybe to the yellow pocket. As Stephen Hendry was saying back in studio, Judd of recent seasons now has this B game where he doesn't push the boat out like he used to. He is happy to wait a little bit longer. I think the Judd of a few seasons ago would have had a pop at that red to the yellow pocket.
No, his tactical game has improved dramatically over the last 4 or 5 seasons. He's up there with the best in the safety department. If he tries to come down off that red you're looking at there, he'd have to play with a lot of right-hand side, could get a double kiss. Got to be a wee bit careful with this. Loads of side applied here. You could see the angle the white came off at there. Good length. But once again, the yellow and brown is the target to try and maybe get in behind. Let's put the brown out of commission now. This won't do Hossein any harm at all. Tactical battle just to get his opponent out of his stride a little bit after that opening frame where he breaks a 31 and 63. So this will settle Hossein in here. But the pace on the cue ball once again from Judd, very good. Blocked the escape down the left side of the table off, and the right side of the table he's got to avoid that red near the cushion, so got to be a little bit careful. In fact, he's playing that red and he needs to contact this correctly to avoid the double kiss. Which he's done. Well played. Just got to be careful that you don't push a red over a corner pocket with this safety exchange. Make sure you get a good cue ball, but be aware of knocking one over a pocket. not easy with the brown being tight on the cushion there, so you're just trying to get the white as close to the baulk cushion as you can. I wonder who's going to win this little tactical battle here. Well, nearly picked another one out, as he did in the opening frame. Now the black's not available, but if he does get the right connection here, he can finish on the pink.
One.
He's not looking at that pocket for the pink, he's looking at the middle, but it's gone a bit far, the cue ball. That's why he's looking at the blue. Maybe, well, the pink would look slightly easier than the blue, and he's back with the pink. But he's not happy with it. He's just wondering what the cue ball's going to do, but can't quite make his mind up at the moment. So it's the blue. Wonderful piece of cueing, deserves a bit of good luck. Still not a good chance just yet, but he may be able to hold for the black as we show you this terrific long blue there that went right in the heart of the pocket. Now, can he get himself onto the black? It's available into the right corner. If he could pot this and run through and cannon the other red, he'd be on the black. Sometimes, Sean, when you're out there, everything is so straightforward. Other times it's just fractions that can make a difference.
Yeah, it was funny actually, because I actually don't think he wanted to play the pink or the blue. Half of me thinks he played that shot because he didn't want to send a negative message to his opponent. He wasn't really on either. I think on another day against somebody else, he might have actually played a safety shot there. But a lot of this game isn't played on the table. It's played between the ears, and there's that psychology battle that's going on between the two players out there.
7.
You can't afford to let your opponent know that you're struggling or perhaps not feeling confident. But having gone for the blue, he got it, and he's in here.
Just got to make sure he doesn't do what he did in the previous frame, because he missed a straightforward shot in this pocket here. Just a lapse in concentration. But the black now may be tied up. Let's have a look. Yeah, so he's going to have to go for pink or blue here.
50.
He's short on the blue, so the pink may be his choice. Now he's just going to drop the blue and leave that one for the left corner. But the black's out of commission. It won't go into the left corner pocket, and the red next to it's preventing it popping
20.
into the right corner. So he's got a bit of work to do here. Key couple of shots coming up now. See if he can open the game up a little bit. Is he on that red? Has he gone too far? Well, he's got other reds available. He tried to get on the one that's
26.
just to the left and above the black there. So the white just travelled another 6 inches further than he intended. Had he have been straight on this red to the left of the black, the whole game would have opened up there.
$27.
just get the sense this is getting more and more difficult, don't you? Lost the cue ball a few shots ago, as we just see retying his shoelace. Don't want to trip up out there. Just lost the cue ball a few shots ago and hasn't really got it back. Now this pink is missable. There's 2 reds by the black waiting for him should he get it. But they're waiting for Judd should he miss it. Well played. Nicely controlled. And when he pops this red, that'll free the path for the black into the same pocket at some stage.
34.
I think he's gone just a little further than he intended. He wants to be... Well, no, I think he's okay. He can run through and leave that red that's next to the black. He's got choices here, but... Yeah, that's perfectly played. Now he's got the black in the open. So a wonderful opportunity already, 36 ahead. But those reds are all covering each other, as you can see. So he might need one more cannon to make it a frame-winning chance. See, they're all covering each other into this corner also. Got to give this due care and attention. This is key one along the cushion here.
49.
And one good cannon and the frame will be at his mercy. Going to be a bit unlucky. Funny enough, I thought he didn't have to hit it that hard, but very unfortunate to knock everything safe here. This is far from easy. It will pass the yellow. But what is he, 52 ahead? Needs a few more pots. Now then.
Same with 5.
So that last cannon, he was a bit 56. Unlucky to push everything safe. If he knocks this red in, he's bound to be on pink or black, I would think, looking at the angle of this. It'll come back up the table. Done well to hold for the blue.
Whoa.
Once again, those 4 reds are all sort of blocking each other into both corners. Might be able to do something about that here. Here it comes. How's your luck, Judd? I think he's okay.
6.
There's one difficult red, the one he almost cannoned there. Let's see what he plays here. And he's played to bring it into play. Fabulous thinking there from Judd Trump. That was the one red that was always going to be difficult, and played that to perfection. He's still got a lot to do here, Sean, but it's the sort of frame, if you nick it off your opponent when you know you should have lost it, means a lot.
It's like winning 2, isn't it? It has such a big effect on your mentality. Sat in the chair when you've been in first, you made that break, 56, didn't finish the frame off in one hit. He went for that speculative red to the yellow, didn't have to go for it. And now with those couple of wonderful shots from Judd, he could lose this frame right here. The only problem is by the
20.
brown, doesn't pass the brown into the green pocket. Apart from that, it should be plain sailing here.
21.
Judd would be well aware of the red that's next to the brown. And if he can get on that red,
27.
just above the brown, leave the red into the left corner. Now that's about 5 or 6 shots from here, but he'll be thinking about that already.
28.
So that will be key in a few shots' time, if he can get on that difficult red that's next to the brown.
$35. $36.
Yeah, Sean's just put a little circle up there, as I mentioned. That's where he'd love to get the cue ball, to leave that red into the left corner pocket. This next shot is the key to the frame. Got to be careful he doesn't snooker himself, so he'd have to be very, very precise. But he's got the cue power to get the cue ball there. That looks pretty good. That looks not bad at all. A little bit closer would have made it easier.
43. $44.
Well, this is a wonderful break. And what a steal it will be. As I mentioned, Hossein at the time was a bit unlucky. He played a cannon, and how he managed to knock them all safe.
46.
He was very unlucky.
$48. $51.
He's just run out of position there. He would have liked to have had that one again. It's finished quite straight on this brown. It's not made getting to the blue any easier.
Well, if anyone can get to the blue, it's Judd Trump with the cue power he has. Look how low he's striking the cue ball. Look at that white. Just
55.
fizzed back with reverse side. Perfectly played. Brilliant shot. He makes that type of shot look so easy, Sean, doesn't he?
He's just blessed with incredible cue power, isn't he?
60.
He's perfectly on this pink. And this has been a great counter clearance. Hossein was in first, didn't make it count. And since then, it's been all Judd Trump.
66.
No, he's not bothered about the black.
On the front.
An excellent break of 66 in counter to Hossein's earlier 56. Gives Judd Trump frame 2. He leads 2 frames to 0.
The first blow.
Snooker is a confidence game. And that's the difference between, say, somebody like Neil Robertson's obviously sort of lacking a bit, Joe Perry lacking a bit of confidence. They've not become bad players overnight. But all of a sudden, Judd in the interview the day before, talking about the fact he prefers the fact he's got somebody he knows he's got to hit the ground running with. So that wasn't just bravado. He's now proven that he prefers that type of match for his first round.
Trump looking good.
He certainly is looking good, Hazel, and a good length of the break-off shot. Okay, there's a red for either corner pocket, but with the cue ball tucked up on the cushion, this is difficult. Wonderful shot. Absolutely wonderful piece of cueing there. To play it at that pace and judge the position, well, that's probably the best shot of the tournament so far, to judge that.
Well, it's a statement of intent, isn't it? I don't think most players would have played safe there. To go for it like that at that pace, that sends a message. Now, can he back it up?
Eight. Nine.
I caught the pink half ball. Still got some sort of pot on, you'd feel, but he wanted to cannon the pink full ball there, and he wouldn't have lost the cue ball. It's so important, that shot, when you're potting the blue, that you get the cannon correctly. And this is tough. Now that was very tough.
Same Vafaei. 14.
Now what's he left? There's one red in the middle of the bunch that'll go into the right corner. The one into the middle is very thin. Looking at it, the one that's nearer the pocket is very difficult. But the one I mentioned initially, he may have a go at this, and he's going to open the reds all over the place. He's looked at it. Oh, he's not taking the one in the middle of the bunch, so, but this is a very thin snick here. It's quite thin, but no damage done.
Yeah, nice shot there from Hossein. That shot's actually become very trendy in the last few seasons. The super thin safety shot with lots of run inside. You get the angle on the cue ball, but you don't disturb many reds. It's a good shot, and he's played it really well that time.
Might just have gotten away with that. He got the old DDK there, the dreaded double kiss, but this is not straightforward. All about the cue ball here.
Well,
It's never going to be easy. Get nicely onto the black. That'll do nicely. He made that pot look much easier than it was. He deserved a good kiss on the green there.
9.
Played that with a lot of bottom. It's called a drag shot. You can hit it with a bit of pace, but the white doesn't really move very far. Perfectly played. But just having a look at the pack here, he's 30 in front.
60.
But those 7 reds are all covering each other. He's got 2 easy reds available. So it's not a frame-winning chance just yet.
$70.
Excellent shot. He was a bit unlucky in the previous frame with his split off the black, but this one was worked out perfectly. Just arced it round the first red, as played. And those 4 reds have split beautifully. Should have won the previous frame.
25.
He now should win this one.
$32. $33.
This has gone slightly wrong from being in perfect position a minute ago. He's now lost the cue ball slightly, going away from the reds now. You wouldn't think it would cause too much problem, but he's made what was a straightforward situation slightly more difficult now. We've seen these reds miss before. Yeah, but well struck into the heart of the pocket.
One more good shot here. I'm potting the pink. Nice cannon. This will decide whether he wins the frame at this visit or not. Well, he doesn't have to. Yeah, the cannon's worked out okay. Say that. He's nudged a red into a position
46.
where all 4 reds are now blocking each other. But he's got a 60-point advantage. But we know what happened in the opening frame.
$47.
And all of a sudden, he might not clinch the frame at this visit. He's looking round at the scoreboard, but you've got a few to pot yet before you're safe. So Judd is going to get back to the table unless he pulls out quite a remarkable positional shot here. Well, where's this cue ball going to finish? Don't forget the pink's going back on its spot. The pink is going back on its spot. And look where he's finished.
53.
He's rooted to the spot there. He can't believe it. Look at that. Fractions.
It's funny though, Dennis, isn't it? Because that looks unlucky, and it is a little bit unlucky, but you can trace this back 4 shots where he finished the wrong side of the pink. And since then, he's been in trouble. He's been chasing his tail ever since then. Just got to the line in this frame. And he's faltered.
Back double. Back double to win the frame. Oh! Just needed that red to leave Judd needing a snooker. That's why he took the back double off. And he thought it would have been in. Well, he's got an angle on the blue, but Look where the cue ball is. Might be able to play for the red that's near the cushion here behind the black. No.
6.
It's always going to be difficult with the cue ball tucked up on the cushion. The red won't go up past the brown, I don't think. So it'll have to be... See the brown just blocking the path there. Don't think this red pot, so is he going to try and... Well, maybe he can see enough of it. We've got the perfect picture. It's there. What a shot this is.
7.
Oh, well, this was incredible, wasn't it? He could only just get through to the potting angle there. Doesn't need to play a cannon here. You can see there, those reds are lined up for this pocket. The one nearest the black pots, the one furthest from the black pots. This is an easier clearance than he made in the previous frame to steal it. That cannon to the pink has gone wrong. Can he still get through for this red?
40.
Might have to turn this over with the inside, super slow.
50.
Can't get through to the black, I don't think. Pink's still available.
Is he going to do it again? Well, you can't do anything when you're sitting in your seat.
20.
You've got to hope that your opponent slips up.
22.
Difficult to accept though, Dennis, isn't it? Because Hossein was in first in the first frame. He missed a sitter of the red next to the black. He was in the previous frame with a break of 56 and messed up. And Judd cleared up to counter and steal that frame, and he was in first in this frame. On another day, we could be looking at 3-0 to Hossein Vafaei here. He hasn't been swamped by Judd Trump. He's had his chances in every frame so far.
Okay, it's the first to 10 and we're only in frame 3, but psychologically this will be an unbelievable blow for Hossein here.
And you always find in these matches it's the simple mistakes that you make, it's the self-inflicted damage that gets you. It's never because your opponent blows you away, it's always because of those silly little mistakes that you make.
38.
And I'm just looking at the only difficult shot, brown to blue, but for a left-hander that shouldn't be a problem. And for a left-hander with the cue power that Judd has, I don't think it'll be a problem as long as 45. He pots the yellow, gets a good angle on the green and drops in behind the brown somewhere near the balk line. It could be 3-0. This is 47. The one you want to get absolutely in the perfect spot. That's a bit 50. Hard. He might need the long stuff. I don't think he can reach round here. And that 3 or 4 inches has made this now quite difficult. I don't know if he can reach it. It's quite a stretch, this. Well, he could reach it.
54.
So one more good positional shot, and he's nicking this third frame. Looks good to me, 59. This.
$65.
Wow, what a steal. Another wonderful clearance from Judd Trump. He could, as Sean said, he could be 3-0 behind, but with those sort of shots, he's now 3-0 ahead.
Also, could have easily have won those 2 frames. It's just margins, and when we're criticising in the studio, we know these are great players, but we're picking up on the small parts, and it sometimes is quite unfair on the players, but we have to be sort of honest.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's now 3-0 down, Vafaei, against a man who's been in 8 world ranking finals this season and has won 5 of them.
Whoa. Excellent long pot to kick things off from Judd Trump in frame 4. It was almost a gimme, that, wasn't it, after what we've seen so far? He would have expected to get that, and did. It was a poor break off from Hossein, it has to be said.
Green ball.
But just the 1 point from it. And I think the Judd Trump of maybe 5 years ago or so might have had a dip at the blue there. Might have even tried to pot the green, but not so now. He reads his man. He knows he's got Hossein under pressure. And he thinks, I'll take that red and I'll put you on the ball cushion. I'm not going to give you anything.
That's not quite good enough. You need to get that cue ball tight on the ball cushion, especially with Judd Trump coming to the table behind you. This could be one of his specials here. Oh. I think he thought that was in. Right, bit of a chance now as we show you that red wobbling in the jaws there. Looked like it was in the pocket at one stage.
What?
Such a frame, even in the best of 19. If he can go to the mid-session interval 3-1 down, he'd be quite happy. 4-0, he'd be straight on the practice table. But that's usually the case when you're struggling a little bit and you go into the bunch, you finish on absolutely nothing. Let's have a look at this again. It wasn't an easy pack to go into, but he got the required backspin but didn't get the correct contact.
Yeah, he needed to stun that, didn't he? More with, not with topspin, but to keep the cue ball going forwards rather than the backspin to bring it backwards. That was, he was always asking a lot playing it that way, but it was his choice. And he's interested in this red up into the green pocket. A very similar mirror image shot to the one Judd played in the previous frame. It's not the one to the middle he's looking at. It's the one at the edge of that cluster into the green pocket. But I think it's too tight.
Vafaei.
I think it's a bit early to call this a must-win frame, Dennis, but it's not far off.
Well, as I mentioned, if you go to the mid-session and you've lost all 4 frames, you haven't settled. A little shake of the head there. He knows that, but mind you, he's forgotten about that. He knows he could have won 2 frames. You've got to put that at the back of your mind, get on with things.
Wondering whether Judd might be tempted at this red near the yellow pocket. He could play it in such a way as to leave the cue ball near the right middle pocket. Wouldn't be leaving an easy red for his opponent. Same could be said for the red to the right middle pocket. He's having a look to see what would I leave if I leave the cue ball there. Potentially could turn that into a shot to nothing.
Well, that's a shot of a very confident player. Cue ball tucked up in the cushion. To roll that in made it look easy. He's just looking to see what would happen if he canned that red to the right of the yellow. But the main part of this shot is to make sure you pot the blue. Let the white take care of itself. Gone slightly wrong. I think he might possibly be able to take this red on, and he could finish on the black if he can put the cue ball past the brown. Yeah, it's sort of round about a half ball contact, but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't pot this and get on the black.
Seven.
He's played it perfectly. He's got the pink or the black. The black will get him into the reds. As you can see, they're all blocking each other. So an early key shot coming up here. How's your luck, Judd? At first glance, not so good. There might be one that'll go into the right middle pocket, but couldn't have played that much better.
No, he played that well, didn't he? Avoided the first red as he had to and found it. Now this red underneath the pink is potable, I think, as is the one nearest the cue ball. He's slightly annoyed with himself as he walks back to his chair.
14.
That was 4-0 right there if that red goes in, and he knows it. That's about as emotional as Judd gets now in the chair. Always likely to undercut those when you're so close to them. Now what's he left? Maybe a plant to the left middle pocket. There's a lot of distance between those two reds. We can see they're lined up for the middle pocket. Playing the one up into the yellow pocket through the gap. Nicely played. Another cue ball.
It's coming close to the pocket.
One.
Oh, he's left an awkward black. Does he fully commit on the black? Yeah, this is a shot. If you take it on, you're canning into the two reds. It's a must pot, otherwise you're going to put your opponent in. Big shot this, and a tough shot. Wonderful bit of cueing. Fabulous shot from Hossein Vafaei. That one shot there deserves to win a frame.
8.
Incredible bravery and courage on display there from Hossein. It was a must pot, but it wasn't a must attempt. He didn't have to do that. But having gone for it and got it.
9.
What a shot that was.
$60.
Just got to be a bit careful here. You see, there's a gap there, a delicate little screw shot, but he could cannon the red or the pink. And he's got the one to the middle pocket, but this is the shot to play, but just got to be careful with the cue ball here. It's a delicate little one. playing the cannon by the looks of it.
70.
And that's not bad. Might need the rest. Not sure if he can reach this. But you're trying to keep everything as simple as possible for yourself. All about keeping control of this cue ball now. Stephen Hendry mentioned losing the white quite a bit earlier on, but this will make up for it, but still got quite a lot to do here.
Thirty. This
is where it starts getting a little bit more difficult now from the positional point of view. That's knocked the red into an awkward spot. Not that that would make a great deal of difference because he's not going to need all the reds. This helps getting this one out of the way. The one next to blue.
39.
Needs to pull up though. Just about. Quick look at the scoreboard. He's a few pots away from securing his first frame.
47.
Yeah, it's the same pattern as the other frames though, isn't it, Dennis? Because he's got right to the line here in this frame and he's just starting to lose that cue ball again. He's left all the difficult reds till last. Which isn't the end of the world. If he were to make a mistake here, the counter clearance is extremely difficult.
Oh, has he fluked it? He has. Wow. He turns around and apologises,
54.
but no wonder he's got a big broad smile on his face. Because that was a nervy one he played there, and the cannon on the black came to the rescue. Well, he'll enjoy his interval now a bit better, but the double here to make
60.
Absolutely certain of the frame. But what a timely fluke that was, Sean.
Absolutely it was. Yes, it was. 53 ahead with 51 on. I don't blame him for leaving that red on the side cushion. This one up by the green's the danger ball because it's an easy one for Snooker in behind. Should Judd get a chance?
Same Vafaei. 60.
Well, barring Snookers, he's got his first frame on the board. Oh, the white's in.
Foul.
And that is the
Same
end of the frame.
On the front.
Judd just nudges the green. I think, well, Judd will certainly be happy, but Hossein Vafaei, he'd be delighted to have taken that last frame. And we go to the mid-session interval. It's 3-1 to Judd Trump.
Well, it seems almost mad to say that's got to be a relief, but I'm sure it actually is, because when Judd Trump, lots of excellent play from him. He's ambushed Hossein Vafaei in a couple of frames, two great steals to go 3-0. But Hossein Vafaei certainly still in this, 3-1, and we've got another 5 frames to play in this opening session. The world number 2 against the world number 19. Back to Dennis and Sean we go.
Thank you, Hazel. Welcome back, everybody. I wonder what Hossein's been doing during the interval. Could have, perhaps should have won at least 3 of the first 4 frames. As it is, he managed to scramble to win the 4th and get a bit of a foothold in this match. Wasn't panic stations just yet, but it was close, wasn't it, at 3-0, Dennis?
Well, absolutely. And when you think he's had breaks of 56, 53 and 60, and he's only got 1 frame on the board, but Judd had a couple of amazing clearances to nick 2 frames. Oh, what a shot that is, by the way. Well, what a way to come out after the mid-session interval and to knock a pot like that in. Just a little awkward. He may have to go up for the blue here.
8. No.
But not a problem. He's played it well. He's still got... Well, I'm saying there's only 2 really potable reds. I'll have to go into the bunch. There's 2 reds available, as I mentioned, but then everything else is covering each other. But when you knock a long red
50.
like that in, it doesn't have to give your confidence a boost.
$20. $21.
Now he can screw into these 2 reds. The left-hand one, the one nearest to him, is his goal, really. That'll nudge that one out the way and be on the second red. Well, he's gone for more of an aggressive route, and that's worked out well. He's chancing his arm there. That was a bit more luck than judgment,
28.
but it's worked out perfectly.
29.
Well, he's flying around the table at the moment. Yeah, just time to steady the ship down a little. Make sure you don't make any careless positional mistakes. And that's not the best. He's got to try and get
36.
up for the blue. He's going to have to cannon one of the reds. There's a little gap, but I don't know if he can get through that gap. He's looking at it now. He's going to have to judge this. He's took his eye off the pot, you know. Isn't that amazing?
That's only the phone.
A simple pot on the red.
36.
He's worried about the cannon and can't afford to do that.
One. Cheers, Judd. Thank you.
I'm sure we'll see Judd play the split shot here. Can arc the cue ball into those reds. It's a great gap to get the cue ball in just underneath the pink. Oh, it arced too early. I don't think he's on anything. Just got too much spin there.
Surely there's not a plant that's going to get him out of trouble here. I don't think so. He played Sean's shot, but just, as I say, got a bit too much on it. Now, even if the 2 reds were a plant, I don't think he can get to the correct angle of the first red to make it into a plant. You see, they're in direct line, but he can't get to the angle, as you can see. And this is slightly awkward now with the red up the other end of the table. The normal safety area is not available because of that red.
ball here, isn't he? The red 2 from the pink on the left. I've seen Hossein in similar situations just get down and try and drop that in the middle pocket. Cue ball up towards the green side of the table. Could only really leave the red he's playing. But he's pretty much guaranteed to leave it should he try and pot it. It's hard to see how he plays safe from here.
Oh, this is a tough one he's looking at. Oh, that was high. Oh, has he fluked it again? Would you believe it? Another fluke. And how timely will this one be? We showed you just before we started again the fluked red that went in off the black to secure his first frame. And now he's had a slice of real good fortune there that could see him close to just 1 behind. Still got quite a way to go, but that fluke has paved the way for the chance.
Well, it was funny, Dennis, isn't it? Because as we left the comms box to go off for our break at the interval, he shouted at us down the stage door, didn't he, that it wasn't happening. It's starting to happen now.
4.
He's lost the cue ball again, and that's what we were talking about in the first half. Stephen Hendry was saying that Hossein's white was running freely, and eventually it will catch you out. You can't keep potting difficult balls and trying to get back into a decent position. But I mentioned that plant, and it now may be a 3-ball plant. We've seen they were in line for the pocket, so we can send 1 red onto the 2 reds. But how many times have we seen players play a plant and they forget about the cue ball? The plant's a certainty, but you take your concentration off the cue ball. He doesn't like where he left the white, does he?
Vafaei 8.
Played a similar shot to this in the previous frame before the interval and got that one. Didn't get this one. Hasn't left anything easy here at all for Judd Trump, but it's the fact he was in again first with a chance to win the frame. And he squandered it. Cost him 2 or 3 frames before the interval. Will it cost him this one eventually?
Wasn't a bad effort, the back double there, because look where the white is. He would have been perfectly on the green. The only red he could leave was the one he tried to double, and that's the only one that Judd can have a go at. Not quite, but a similar shot. That's a classic shot to nothing. If the red goes in, he's on the green. If it doesn't, it's safe. What Hossein's looking at there, playing the safety shot off the red over the left side of the table. He was looking to see if it would go back towards the right corner pocket. Decided against that. He's left one for the left corner. And we know how good Judd is at this type of shot. Bound to finish on a colour with the black over the middle, green over the corner. Played perfectly. Well, even the flick on the blue is a bit of a help. But he was always going to be nicely on the green or black. Mind you, if the blue doesn't pass the black, it's not easy to get close to his next red. Black's dead straight by the looks of it. Feels as if the blue will just pass the black.
And now we're going to see a repeat of 3 of the 4 frames before the interval, with Hossein Vafaei in first, chance to win. Somehow makes a mistake and Judd steps in to clear up and counter. It's out of Hossein's hands now.
Seven.
He had a quick look at the pink
12.
and the red there just to see if the red or the pink's available. So he was thinking at least 3 shots ahead there.
30.
The red over the left side of the table is the awkward one, but that one next to the pink, he's just looking to see if it would be available if he left the cue ball where the tip of his cue is. But it's not straightforward, this. Although, having said that, the red, the left side of the table, is far enough away from the cushion to drop in behind it in a few shots' time.
8.
Vafaei having a close look.
90.
Make sure he didn't catch the pink. If you hit the red and the pink simultaneously, it's a foul.
$25. 26.
Well, he's a left-hander, so if he's dead straight on the pink, he can roll it in and drop in behind that last red. Yeah, he played it well. Played it very well.
32. $33.
He looks in terrific form, this Judd. As I say, he's pinched a couple of frames, but he's made very few mistakes, although Hossein has been in most of the frames. But Judd, when he gets in amongst the balls, is not making many mistakes.
36. 38.
Yeah, it's a funny one though, isn't it, Dennis? Because it's a bit of a false economy. You know, Judd isn't in first creating these opportunities. It's Hossein who's been in first, done all the hard work almost in every frame, and then Judd
40.
stepped in and mopped up the prize once Hossein's taken all the difficult balls off the table. An incredible pattern of play so far in this match. How much more self-inflicted damage can Hossein to take?
45. $50.
That's another frame on the board for Judd Trump.
On the
He's
front.
not going to bother with the
Judd
black.
Trump.
Hussein come out after the mid-session interval, got in first, but didn't make enough, and Judd extends his lead. He's now 4-1 in front.
Yeah, third frame that has happened. Very much half an eye on that one. We've got our own business to attend to here, as have these guys. Hossein Vafaei to break in frame 6. And just a word of warning, we're coming off the air at 4:30. Small matter of an FA Cup semi-final for you. But you will see all of this. It's always live and available on the iPlayer and the website. And this match too on the red button. Just giving you fair warning about that. Back we go.
Close to this long red, had to avoid the cannon into the black and the red, and nudged into the brown, left Hossein this longish red.
Foul. Just from 4.
We'll do that again if you could.
Wow. He'll have a quick look at his tip. I mean, sometimes when that happens, you could take a little piece out of the tip, but I think he's okay. Bit of an awkward frame with the break-off shot. The red went right next to the black, and the pink's out of commission. Something you don't see very often, but for the white, he was pleased the white went into the pocket in the end.
Foul. And a miss.
He won't be too concerned about that, because better missing it altogether than hitting it on the thick side and putting your opponent in. He needs a thinnish one, but
yeah. See? Okay, Judd.
Doesn't have to play the same shot. I'm just looking at it. He can get past the pink, you know, to flick a red and come down that side of the table. That's the one he's looking at now. It's a thin one. He could go in off it, but yeah, and every chance he could maybe get in behind the yellow if he judges this one. And this is a pretty good effort.
Foul. And a miss.
Dear me.
Same Vafaei 6.
No, he can put him in from there, which the referee would be delighted about. He breathed a sigh of relief as well. But if he had asked to put them back here, there was a few balls moved, and I was watching Rob's face, and he thought, oh, I'm pleased that he's playing from there. It's a bit too narrow, is it? It's going to reach. Is it going to flick it? Oh, what judgment. Maybe touching. No, not touching.
Just wondering here if he might play the red next to the black, free the black, bring that into play and try and swing that cue ball over by the yellow. Well, he did play the red, I suggested, but he's kept the cue ball down that side of the table. Chance here for Hossein to play a thin edge on the reds by the pink spot with lots of left-hand side and get that cue ball back towards the yellow side of the table. I say that because he might get in behind the yellow or makes the escape that little bit more difficult down that side.
Advantage Judd. No easy escape back down the table from this position. You'll have to get a little trace aside. You'll have to swerve this slightly. He's had to swerve around the blue and he's played this extremely well.
Okay, as I promised it.
Must get pots, which he has negotiated now. Yet again, he's created this opportunity. Can he now make the most of it?
15. $22. 23.
He's saying his pot success is 91%, which is quite high, but finds himself 4-1 down.
30.
Again, looks composed, still playing with confidence. Again, as I said before, it's always encouraging when you're still getting chances, and most frames getting the first chance.
He doesn't lack courage on the table, that's for sure. The black that he potted, which was very missable in the fourth frame, which he absolutely had to get, otherwise he was likely to be 4-0 behind. You saw that brilliant red just now along the side rail to get him out of trouble. Tricky black with the rest. He's certainly not afraid to take on the difficult shots. A couple of times that's backfired in this session
46.
because of the excellence of Trump in punishing.
$47.
Yeah, very determined, proud character. That's why last year against Ronnie O'Sullivan was such a surprise, so out of character for him.
I think he just got himself worked up to such an extent that he wasn't able to play anything.
Yeah, it wasn't so much it was a moment of madness, it was more like a premeditated act, which made it more unusual, but I'm sure he's learned from that.
Yeah, there was more than a hint of self-sabotage about that loss, but as you say, and he has talked about it, he feels as though he has matured and learnt from it.
54.
.52 in front, still bags of points available, so he'll be very conscious of the need to finish this frame in a way that he's not been able to on a couple of other occasions from winning positions.
Cheers. Thank you. 55.60. 61.
Yes, he's played that nicely, so it should now be a formality
66.
for Vafaei. What a good break this has been. And he came to the table having snookered himself on the red over the
67.
green pocket, but got himself out of it with that brilliantly executed pot from distance on the red along the rail. And so he's going to be winning his second frame, and what a vital frame, just to stay in touch with Judd Trump. But this has been a very impressive response from Vafaei to losing the first after the interval. And this match is certainly living up to its billing. Top draw snooker.
82. 83.
He lost those couple of frames earlier on. He should have won, but a little bit easier to accept them if you feel you're in good form. And you can see coming through the qualifying, his game is very sharp.
89.
Still looks confident in his game, and anytime he's had a test that required good cueing, he's passed them all.
90.
And over the years, as he got more experienced, he has added more of a safety and tactical side to his game, but it's the kind of same we'd like to see playing.
98.
Very fluent, positive.
This for his fourth Crucible century. And what a classy break it's been. And this time, Vafaei making absolutely sure, having created the chance, that he finished it.
$104. $111.
And a chance to make his highest break here at the Crucible now. Previously a 1-2-2 last year. $160. $120. $125. $131. What a contribution this has been. Snooker of the highest order from Hossein Vafaei.
138 on the frame.
A 138 clearance from the Iranian to keep himself well in the hunt. That was quite superb. His 33rd century of the season to close to 4-2. A tremendous first session unfolding here. Judd Trump with a couple of killer clearances to deny Vafaei frames that he looked favourite to win before the interval. Crucially, Vafaei was able to take the fourth to close the gap to 3-1, and he's just made a quite superb clearance of 134, his highest break here at the Crucible, to close to 4-2 behind. Trump looking a bit bemused about something, not quite sure what that relates to.
It's on the wrong ones. You broke first, so you break on the odd numbers, basically.
Well, it is Trump's turn to break in this 7th frame of 9 in this first session. They play to a finish tomorrow afternoon from 2:30, of course. 10, the magic number for a place in round 2.
It was noticeable there when Judd was confused about something. He said it to Hossein. Hossein barely acknowledged him. Just shows how focused he is, how composed he is. They're good signs. That's even a better sign again. Looks to just have enough of an angle that he can. Don't think he can go forward past the brown now, so he'd have to screw it into the middle. As it turned out, he did have that angle just to get past the brown. Made the putt a lot easier. And again, the last 3 times Judd has broken off, Hossein has putted a red from the break. That's certainly not something he'd want to continue. The modern game. Many frames are lost just from the break off alone. It's certainly growing in confidence, Hossein. It's like he's not aware of the scoreboard that he's behind.
Signs that Vafaei is really settling into his work now. Would have felt very frustrated to find himself 3-0 behind, having had chances in all 3 frames, having 2 of them pinched from his pocket by the excellence of Trump, but that sublime century just now just seems to have kicked his game to a new level.
11.
He's not a player who lacks self-belief. Vafaei, he's fiercely ambitious. He believes he can be a world champion. And he certainly has all the tools when it comes to talent, potential. The sky's the limit for this man.
And actually, even though Judd is leading 4-2, if the pattern of this match continues, you'd have to think it's Hossein that'll win all 7 frames. He's had the first good chance.
And then
Oceans. Great long red to get in, created the chance from nowhere, missed the sitter really.
Maguire, of course, didn't qualify for the Crucible last season, lost to Fan Zhengyi. He's played some exceptional snooker this afternoon on the neighbouring table, including a couple of centuries, but he hasn't been able to shake the captain off. 3 apiece there. It's on Discovery Plus. So Trump faced with this slightly tricky shot with the rest, not least because he's, as you can see, hampered with the blue.
Yeah, that was quite awkward there. Struck it very well. Wasn't tempted to try and play a cannon on the red or pink. Just make sure the pot. Fractionally on the hit, that would have looked to be straight on the pink.
Made a tricky shot, looked straightforward there. You could see he was hampered with his cueing, but no problem for Trump. All of this the result of a surprise error from Vafaei with the misread to this right corner pocket. But can Trump get through to this red? Oh, that looks very tight, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think if he plays it slowly with it, tries the right-hand side, he might be able to turn it over. Yeah, just able to get past it. He's had to work very hard for this opportunity. But now in prime position, and he'd expect that he's going to win this frame.
45.
This has been very well engineered by Trump. And when given the opportunity this afternoon, he has been clinical in punishing Vafaei's mistakes. He's been playing catch-up in almost every frame, but at the moment, he's looking good to win 5 of the 7 played. Rob Spencer just checking to see if there is room for the black there. It must be quite tight.
Test of his nerve there as well.
Thanks. 53.
Yeah, you can see a slight tremble in his fingers there as he was doing it, but did a good job.
$54.
Pot success remains in the mid-90s, very healthy. Colour, red colour, and he should be 5-2 up.
61.
So again, Judd Trump ruthless in making his opponent pay for an error. Vafaei was in, looking good after the superb 1-3-4 clearance.
69.
Only to miss a short-range red, and that's proved to be his last meaningful shot of this frame. Even if he were to get back to the table, I'm sure he wouldn't bother anyway. And so Trump guarantees himself a first session lead, but how big will it be? And now the frame is won. Bit of naughty snooker.
Yeah, nice position to be in, as you said, guarantee the lead. But we'll be mindful to try and capitalise on it, get a bigger lead as possible. But then a very good break.
Judd Trump 77. And the frame.
A brilliant break again from Trump. He had to work hard in the early stages, puffs out his cheeks, but superbly constructed, and he's back in charge of this match. Guarantee the lead. And for Hossein Vafaei, 2 big frames coming up. He trails 5-2. So Rob Spencer resetting the balls ahead of the penultimate frame of this first session, which has absolutely lived up to billing. Judd Trump in charge now, though, leading as he is 5-2. Hossein Vafaei yet again in first. Was looking good, only to miss a red that was a surprise, really. And Trump punished him yet again. A run of 77 to go with the 63 he made in the first frame. 66 in the second to the pink to steal. 72 to the black to steal in the third. And then 56 in the fifth. And now that's 77 to lead 5-2. And for Hossein Vafaei, Fergal, as we wait for the players to return, well, he's got to win one of the remaining 2, surely, but ideally both.
Absolutely, yeah. I think he'd probably settle for 6-3. Again, that last frame be very hard to take. For the first time in the match, looked to be in a lovely, fluent rhythm. Mr. Red from nowhere. The few mistakes he has made today, every one of them seems to be punished by Judd. And that's why both players going out to the toilet, probably give themselves extra bit of time just to compose himself. Very important passage of play.
Just a reminder tonight, Luca Brissell resuming, 6-3 up on Dave Gilbert. Hossein Vafaei to break off in frame 8.
Yeah, it can be hard to motivate yourself for the last frame or 2 when you know even if you do win them, you still will be behind. But key to success in the World Championships, not so much how good your good sessions are, but that your bad ones aren't disaster. You certainly can't be 7-2 down.
One.
Again, starting to become a pattern of the match. In the break. This time Judd was able to manage to keep the white short of the baulk line. And while you can't take anything for granted, it certainly wouldn't be a big surprise if Judd won the frame on this visit.
6.
Particularly as the black is in play.
That's 14.
With each year, we seem to get more and more statistics about the game, but I'd be fascinated to know how many frames a player pots a red from the break and therefore goes on to win the frame from that Standards rising all the time.
Yes, the quality of the long potting these days is such that it feels as though the break-off, long considered to be an advantage, is now something of a disadvantage, unless you get it bang on.
20.
Can be your last shot of the frame. So often we've seen it.
21.
Yeah, we've already had 6 centuries only halfway through the first day. I think in the first year in 1977, there was 6 centuries in the whole tournament.
He's stuck on the red by the looks of things, certainly if the body language is anything to go by. Is he on the pink? Spencer with his measure around again.
Yes, actually.
Pink doesn't spot, so it's going in behind the reds.
Thank you. Yeah, because when you played the camera, that red's going forward with this. I'll try it again. I'll check it again if you want.
Judd Trump asking for a second opinion. Not surprisingly, because his intended red is now covered by the pink.
See, that's on the cross now, Judd. If I move that up now, it's going to catch the thread. Can you see it? Yeah.
It's obviously incredibly tight, but this is a game about the finest of margins, and it's...
Yeah, that ball marker he has, obviously it's used when it's flat to reposition a ball, but it's also of the ball. As he had when he had it standing up.
Be convinced of that.
Any player really to question a referee, particularly Judd, but he's well aware of the importance. That pink's not there. Continue on.
Yeah, just got to suck it up and play a safety by the looks of things. I think he's played superbly in this match so far. He really has. Every opportunity he's had to inflict pain on Vafaei he's taken.
Yeah, slightly tempted there, I think, to swerve around, cushion first, and try and still pot the red, but I don't think that's the right shot to play. It's a great chance to not just open the reds, but put the white down the table and put Hossein in trouble. But as we've seen today, players are very reluctant to leave the table if they think they have a chance to pot something to keep the break going.
Judd Trump 35.
Again, surprised at that shot. Quite negative, really. Hossein's going to be able to put the white down the table and probably put Judd in trouble. Judd was obviously going to open the reds up, but that was going to be a good thing, you felt, if he got a good white.
Not dissimilar to the red he knocked in at the start of this frame. And right in the middle again.
That kind of pot was shot to nothing. That was a great sign of how well you're playing. Traditionally, when we think of Judd Trump as a long potter, it's those deep screwbacks, but those shot to nothings and plain ball pots. Crucial.
6.
Meanwhile, Ali Carter has hit the front for the first time against Steve Maguire and Mr. Black off its spot. He was in early in frame 7 and Carter's punished with a 90-plus break to lead 4-3. It's on Discovery Plus.
11.12.
Meanwhile, Trump
90.
inching ever closer to a 6-2 lead, and that is very healthy. If he can make it happen.
20.
Worst he can be is 3 clear at the end of this session, but the chance to turn it into an even more commanding 7-2.
Black ball.
Still 75 on the table. But he's only going to need another high-value colour off this next red. And Hossein Vafaei will be in deep water.
$28. Black ball.
A frame ball for 6-2. Just the one snooker. Trump would love
35.
to. Another red there, but looks like a safety.
Judd Trump. 35.
So 2 visits from Trump have got him into a position where his opponent needs a snooker to turn this frame around.
Yeah, nice little shot there from Judd. Just took that extra second or two to ensure that he got the white on the cushion behind the yellow.
Yes, again, Trump delivers the goods from long range. That aspect of his game seemed to go AWOL for periods last season. It's well and truly back this one. His now.
Yeah, that shot, it's nearly been his trademark pot match.
Four.
Snooker at this level, particularly at the World Championship, is all about punishing your opponent's mistakes, inflicting pain.
11.
And Trump has been dishing it out in spades in this session.
12.
Time and time again. He's made the most of his opponent's mistakes. He's dominated this frame. Got in with a great long red, got back in with another one. He looks absolutely in the zone in a way that he wasn't last year. Was pretty well beaten in the end by Anthony McGill in the first round after a season that, bar the Masters, was, by his stellar standards, disappointing. This season has been the complete opposite. And he's taken that season form into this match, and he came into it knowing that he had to play well. It was a tough draw. Vafaei so dangerous, and we've seen flashes of his magic today, but Trump's match play has been quite brilliant. And the last frame of the session becomes a huge one for Hossein Vafaei. It feels like a frame he must win by hook or by crook, otherwise he's going to have a huge task on his hands. Trump powering into a 6-2 lead. Rob Spencer resetting the reds ahead of the final frame of what has been a session of the highest calibre, but for Hossein Vafaei, a frustrating one because he's only been able to win 2 of the 8 frames, even though in most of them he's had opportunities. But Trump has been quite superb in punishing his failure to kill frames off, and that's why there's a lopsided look about the now. Trump with a chance to power into a 5-frame lead here. Judd Trump breaking off in frame 9, the last of this first session. 10 the target, of course. They come back tomorrow afternoon at 2:30 UK time.
Noticeable there, Judd hit that break off a little bit harder. As a result, the white came off the cushion, but also the red that he had been leaving came back in closer. It's the reds. It's only a safety shot, but again, cued it very well. Just at the edge of the red and managed to hit it. Again, I mentioned it when he was 5-2 down, but even more so 6-2 down. It'd be very easy to feel a bit sorry for yourself. be a bit dejected, but as best he can, he has to try and muster up one last effort, try and get it to 6-3. Still very much in touch then tomorrow, but 7-2 you think is just going to be too far against this opponent playing this well.
Yes, he's had the misfortune of running into Trump at the top of his game today. Some of those mistakes that he made at the back end of frames on another day wouldn't have been punished, but Trump has been absolutely brutal in doing so. Merciless. Vafaei has played some good stuff. We saw that sparkling 1-3-4 break. And a number of others, a couple of which, of course, ultimately proved fruitless. So his game is certainly there, as he proved in qualifying, but that hasn't been enough today to match Trump, who has been quite outstanding in all departments.
Yeah, I think if you said to Hossein at the start of the match, your pot success will be 92%, he'd have took it. It is at 92%, and yet he's 6-2 down, which proves he's had chances. He's put a lot, but just not enough. And when he's missed, Judd's punished him severely.
Yes, I think the one that will really hurt was the 7th frame, because he was building up ahead of steam at that stage. He just knocked in the 1-3-4. He got in again early in the next, and it just felt he was really settling into his stride and missed a short-range pot into the right corner. Yet again, Trump punished with a frame-winning break. And I think that just set him back, really, because he was threatening to get right back into the session at that stage. And now it's damage limitation territory.
Good safety return there from Hossein. Just caught that yellow one as a result. Has left Hossein this red into the middle, but looks a lot easier on the screen there than it is. I think he's more looking at us playing it as maybe down to the corner pocket, shot to nothing. You can see there with his, where he has his tip. That's where he'd like to leave the white.
Not quite as spectacular as the red he knocked in along the rail at the start of that superb 1-3-4 break, but pretty impressive nonetheless.
Yeah, not just the pot. Kept the white in the middle of the table for the brown.
5. Six.
Just screwed back a little bit further than he would have liked. Would have liked to pot the blue and stun down the table, but playing the blue might have to play a little cannon, which can go wrong. elected to play the cannon onto the pink,
11.
try and bring the pink into play. Black's not in an ideal position. If he was to pot it, wouldn't go on its spot either. So, good bit of work here for Hossein to do to turn this into a frame-winning chance. Yeah, you can see they're just a little bit relieved that the white ball slowed up enough. Nice angle on the yellow to pot it and naturally come down. I think the pink is available to the left corner as well. That's certainly to his advantage. Just awkward, not the pot, but just trying to find a path for the white to get on a colour. Again, he's shown great patience and discipline here. Very easy to get frustrated, but he knows the importance of this frame. Certainly
15.
couldn't fault his application today. Fell short a little bit sometimes in the execution, but
it's a measure of how clinical Trump has been today that there's only 1 percentage point between them as regards pots successfully made, and yet there's a 4-frame gap. But it's all about staying in the match by winning this frame for Vafaei.
21.
6-3 is retrievable. 7-2, although not impossible, would be extremely difficult, particularly given the way Trump is playing. But gradually he's getting himself into a promising position to make that happen.
27.
And while he's 6-3 down, or will be 6-3 down, hopefully, we're saying what has to give him great encouragement is that 8 of the 9 frames, he has had the first chance, and a good chance. As I said earlier, if that continues, you still feel then the winning and losing the match would still be in his hands, but needs to be just that little bit more clinical. Certainly hasn't been outplayed by Judd. Certainly if he gets 6-3, it sets it up beautifully for tomorrow.
$28. $33. 34. 38. 40. $41.
One or two gasps from the arena.
47.
But the pink goes in. But we've been in this position a number of times already this afternoon. Vafaei with a healthy lead.
48.
Using the full width of the pocket at the moment.
Yeah, they managed just to squeeze in. Again, he's worked very hard for these. Again, shown a lot of character.
53. $50.
There's obviously been times during the session he's obviously been frustrated, but hasn't lost heart. And there's a great example of his temperament and maturity that was certainly lacking in this tournament last year. Yeah, great break.
60.
So this to close the gap.
60.
Well played, Hossein Vafaei. He's summoned the blood in this final frame of the session. A must-win frame, really, to keep realistic hopes alive. He's played some excellent snooker. He's only got 3 frames to show.
67.
But by winning this frame, he has genuine hope for when they come back tomorrow.
$68.
And what a session it's been. This one of the most eagerly anticipated first round matches since the draw was made on Thursday morning, and the calibre of the snooker has been excellent throughout.
Yeah, if you hadn't been watching the match and just seen that Judd was 6-3 up, it'd be very easy to assume that he was going to go on and win, and maybe comfortably, but that hasn't been the case. Hossein's been more than competitive.
And there's further evidence of it. Nothing to choose as regards total points.
74.
A great first session in one of the most eagerly anticipated first round matches of this year's World Championship. Hossein Vafaei crucially wins the last of it in order to stay in touch, but Judd Trump has been outstanding, clinical, ruthless, punishing his opponent's mistakes to lead 6-3.